Aloha and welcome back, precious souls. Thank you so much for joining me today on this Aloha Friday the 13th, the day before the eclipse. Wow. This is Merissa Indigo with Divine DNA Blueprint Mystery School. Oh boy. So how is this eclipse going for you? With this eclipse in Libra, it's all about relationships. So the last 6 weeks in particular, we've started to feel really kind of this bottleneck, this concentration, feeling this concentrating even more now to the last 2 weeks and then this week leading up to the eclipse. Relationships on all levels have been at the forefront of our experience, of our conscious awareness, whether pleasant or not quite so pleasant. Maybe some confrontations, big decisions have to be made, opportunities to speak our truth and stand our ground and hold our boundaries, and doing our best to support others and having to also honor where they are, maybe differences in values, right? Or just where we are on the path right now. So this is the opportunity for us to reevaluate our relationships with ourselves in this as well. What is the self-talk running in the background? Is it positive? Is it loving? Is it coming from more of a unified whole place and kind? Are you finding that it's critical and maybe conditional? And actually, could it just be an echo of someone else in your outside world or life that left impressions upon you as you were growing up? We want to be referencing any ancestral programming, cultural or societal programming, religious programming, and our other relationships can also be with significant others, colleagues in the business world, our creative endeavors, professional expressions, and even on a more macro level, right, immediate in the now level, to our bodies. Our relationship to our bodies, food and self-care, any addictive patterns, codependent patterns, and our relationship with time itself. So basically, everything, our relationships with everything in our reality, everything under the sun, right? And no pun intended, because that sun is going to be blocked out almost 100% tomorrow, about 5 minutes on the 14th for this ring of fire eclipse. One of the phrases that came through, I'd forgotten all about this, is this phrase of the ring of fire when you're in labor to give birth. And it's one of the stages in delivery, where you're not sure if you're going to be able to handle this process of bringing this child, this creation into the world. And it can be painful and intense and really just take over your consciousness. And when I remembered that experience, it's like, oh yeah, this seems very appropriate given what we are seeing happening on the world stage right now and within our own lives, our own minds, our own loving hearts. This is a huge opportunity to look at the scales of Libra, balancing the scales of justice and finding that middle point, the center of the infinity loop, that balance in all things. The energy output that you are giving to others, to projects, to creations, to jobs, and yourself. Is it coming back to you in equal measure? A few weeks ago, some of the images that we saw, just to symbolically try to represent this ping pong energy here, is seeing ourselves on a massive teeter-totter, seeing humanity, on this massive teeter-totter. And one edge starts to kind of dip down, so then we're racing to the other side, right, to get back up on top of things again, and then it goes down. And so it's just racing back and forth, side to side, trying to find the balance and not fall off into some extreme polarity, trying to find the balance. And then we're going back and forth, and you can see it in your mind's eye, seeing this horizontal infinity loop. An infinity loop going to the left and circling, going to the right, circling, and we invite you to put yourself in the middle of that, to find what the center feels like. We want to consistently recalibrate ourselves to what the center and balance and in the middle feels like right now, because there can be many things pulling at your consciousness. Also many people in need right now, right, that are having a hard time, that maybe they're not as far along in their self-development, so they could use some tools. So it's time for us also to support others and share information to support them and show them, yes, you're very powerful, you got this. And other feedback I've received from clients in these last few weeks is, I feel so disoriented. It's not in my nature to not know where I'm going or to know my trajectory. This is so uncomfortable. And when we're sitting, with our higher self, really in deep meditative space, in divine communion, what the guides say is that we are all being scrambled and shaken. And whether you want to look at it like a big washing machine doing a really large, heavy load of laundry, or when you're scrambling eggs, or seeing a a mason jar with water and oil being shaken vigorously, like in a paint mixer, right? We've all just felt like we're being so stirred up, and it can be disorienting. You can feel like you're spinning sometimes, inside and out. And the point of this on a couple levels here. First of all, it's to support us in disengaging from just a linear method of thinking and processing. It's opening us up more to being in the now and being acutely aware of this now moment. And it's also so that anywhere that we were unconsciously on autopilot or being inauthentic to ourselves, right, just going along with what we'd always done, it's shaking that off. And so when we talk about the hardwiring of the brain, our neurology, and then this extends to the nervous system, where we had those brain grooves in the brain hardwired into our neurology, it's called corticalization, right? So these are the brain grooves that are worn over years through habit into the pathways of the brain and then into the mind and our functioning. So we are being shaken up to reevaluate. And it's almost like you could also imagine seeing the compass and that center point, that dial on the compass. Well, it's spinning first one way and you think, okay, it's going to stop and give me some directions, right? And then it spins counterclockwise, then clockwise again. And you're like, oh my God, which way is my true north? What is going on? And this is what the magnetics are doing. This is part of the pole shift. So many literally think the pole shift is a split in the planet, like kind of turning upside down, and everything rearranging itself. And what we see is it has to do with our own inner. It's a quantum mechanic process, right? Where we are reversing our spin from programming to authentic, unified being here in this now, connected with our soul and functioning with consciousness and conscious choice and bringing that energy with us everywhere, right? Rather than defaulting and just being on autopilot. So this is part of what we signed up to experience here on this earth plane with the magnetics shifting as they do. And this is all influenced by the solar activity. This is part of that polarity, the duality becoming so extreme. So we have to work with the figure 8 to find our center. And the Tai Chi Gong practice is great for this. So we're really starting to see this extremism right now in movements. All the distortions as people warrant heinous acts in the name of what they perceive to be God, right? So there's a huge opportunity right now for us to surrender into the discomfort of the unknown, because the truth of the matter is nothing is ever really truly known all the way, even when we think we have it all dialed in, right? We're getting little pieces right now, little inklings like, well, I know I don't want this, but I just don't see clearly yet how it's going to come. So we're getting little pieces, and we must learn to be grateful for that and to trust that clarity is a process and it will come. So now more and more of us are beginning to have this calibration that for years we've called it a calibration from a linear experience where things are predictable. It's, oh, I've got a schedule. I'm going to be here tomorrow. I know what tomorrow will bring. And then I'm doing this weekend. And then next year we're going there, and every day I'm going to get my same order of coffee at this place. Like all of these, they're very illusory. So we're starting to go more quantum as it's aligned. As all things are aligned. It's more of a fluid flow of curvaceous waves, right? Rather than A to B to Z. So a lot of these processes we've been discussing for years now, kind of living in the future, are starting to become more normalized. And so it is our intent that this information is spread to support people in this process, so that it's not that we're losing our minds. We are finding a whole new way to consciously exist and co-create. Right? No longer living in a rigid box. There is a great surrendering in this discomfort. And there's the opportunity here. We'll go into a little bit of an activation of an embodiment, just closing your eyes if you can, take some breaths, and seeing yourself anchoring, sinking down so deeply into the core of your being, going down even more deeply into the core of the earth, this vertical current, anchoring ourselves in this now moment. Anchoring into your pelvis and root and connecting your root with that of Mother Earth herself. And then feeling, oh yeah, okay, I feel more stabilized now, right? And breathing, bringing that awareness from the root of the planet, the heart of the planet, and your roots merging into the root of your own body, and bringing that up into the heart. And allowing yourself to pause and to breathe and to feel. Perceiving what is right now. What is my divine directive? What am I supposed to do, if anything? What is aligned? What is not? And so we're turning into more of a primal, multidimensional kind of hybrid species now, right? Instead of just the thinking human. No longer Homo sapien. That's out the window. It's really Homo luminous, the light, the knowledge, the information, the wisdom that doesn't come through the linear rational calculator brain at all. It comes through the heart. It comes through the whole body. We're learning how to perceive and feel and navigate and digest and understand with our entire being now, instead of just isolated in one organ in our head, in our brain, right? So this is a clear sentience, a knowingness, a clairsentience through the body. The information with which we use to make decisions in each moment, it starts to come through the body and the heart as a unified being. So yes, it's going to take longer for the information to come because it's coming in a whole new way, right? It's not going to work the same way that it did before. This is part of the transition into the new paradigm. And it's actually a lot less complicated. We just made it so. It's the surrendering process, softening. The great softening and opening is now what the awakening is what we have been told. So it's really a relaxing and opening and softening yourself, releasing tension, surrendering, coming into the body. Making decisions in each moment comes through the body and the heart as a unified being. And so we're thinking with our full body, we're perceiving, feeling with our full body, and you take action based on what you know in this moment, what you truly know, what you feel to be right. The right course of action, the highest aligned, most high integrity and love. And as we start to function this way, when others are not yet in that capacity, it can ruffle feathers. And so you can start to see that. You can start to see where everyone is. And it's not a judgment or a comparison. There's nothing. It's just everyone has their own aligned way of what's the healthiest, safest, most beneficial way for them to align, right? For their own unique being. That's all it is. Everyone is on their unique journey. And so the other code piece that came through with all of this, because it is such a rigorous process, and I want to encourage all of you to take time, breathe, take time for yourself. Find the beautiful, peaceful tools that bring you that stillness, that bring you joy, simplicity, beauty. Whether it's looking at a beautiful ocean view into infinity, seeing that horizon there, or a lake, or going out into the forest, or looking at the sky and watching the clouds, sitting with a fire, watching the flames dance. Be with the elementals, be with Gaia, be with the tree people, the animals, your children, your loved ones, your best friends. Laugh together right now to continue to maintain and sustain through this ring of fire. These are some of the craziest times we've ever seen, right? And so we want to ease the tension because we will get through this. Everything is impermanent. So this is that very challenging kind of initiation that they'll call the eye of the needle. And the other code piece that came through with this feeling of being shaken and scrambled and, dissected and separated and trying to find our way is also described as the threshing floor. And we want to make sure that we clarify, yes, this is a biblical reference, but we do not ascribe to the Bible or any creeds. We are here for soul consciousness, and there are truths, there are golden nuggets to be found in every path on this earth. And as we know, there are also a great deal of distortions as written by humankind not coming from source consciousness, right? The service to self factions that we see crumbling right now in every path. This is our opportunity to have discernment. So we clarify that we are not coming at this from any doctrine or dogmatic point. However, there are key codes in ancient religious texts across the world. So in every ancient book, there were key codes for us that were planted to help us to continue to go forward despite all of the distortion, the manipulation, and all of it. So the threshing floor, if you imagine yourself as a bundle or a bouquet of wheat, golden wheat stalks, tall, full of abundance codes, because that is the truth of us and the wheat symbolically, and our DNA, our divine gold DNA, which is coming online right now. Imagine you're this beautiful bouquet of wheat, and the divine, God, source, whatever you want to say, the universe is shaking this bundle of wheat to and fro, side to side, just shaking it so vigorously so that the grain can fall away to be separating the wheat from the chaff. So right now, this is an extremely intense accelerated period where we are seeing those of sound mind, sound heart, those that are connected to their heart, their soul, to their spirit prevailing, even through difficulty. And then we see those who are not yet connected to those aspects of themselves. They're still living through the mind and through their programming and through the old definitions of being and reality and what's right and wrong. Very dualistic, right? Very looking at everything, taking sides, all of this, right? They can be very easily manipulated and swayed and caught up in cult ideologies, which we've been seeing the last few years especially continue to intensify. There's a great deal of Hopi prophecy with this, and we're actually going to be reading now this prophecy piece from a Hopi Indian chief, White Eagle. This moment humanity is experiencing can be seen as a door or a hole. The decision to fall in the hole or walk through the door is up to you. If you consume the news 24 hours a day with negative energy, constantly nervous with pessimism, you will fall into this hole. But if you take the opportunity to look at yourself, to rethink life and death, to take care of yourself and others, then you will walk through the portal. Take care of your home, take care of your body, connect with your spiritual home. When you take care of yourself, you take care of everyone at the same time. Do not underestimate the spiritual dimension of this crisis. Take the perspective of an eagle that sees everything from above with a broader view. There is a social question in this crisis, but also a spiritual question. The two go hand in hand. Without the social dimension, we fall into fanaticism. Without the spiritual dimension, we fall into pessimism and futility. Are you ready to face the crisis? Grab your toolbox and use all of the tools at your disposal. Learn resistance from the example of Indian and African peoples. We have been and are exterminated, but we never stopped singing, dancing, lighting a fire, and rejoicing. Don't feel guilty for feeling blessed in these troubled times. Being sad or angry doesn't help at all. Resistance is resistance through joy. You have the right to be strong and positive, and there's no other way to do it than to maintain a beautiful, happy, bright posture. Have nothing to do with alienation. It's a resistance strategy. When we cross the threshold, we have a new worldview because we have faced our fears and difficulties. What you can do now: serenity in the storm. Keep calm. Pray every day. Make a habit of meeting the sacred every day. Show resistance through art, joy, trust, and love. And this is from Hopi Indian Chief White Eagle, July 9th of 2021. So this is the time to face our fears and watch them dissolve. We have to have the courage for this. Watch them dissolve and no longer have any power over us. It's a time to be so grateful for the knowledge that we have, the connection that we have, the support that we indeed do have, and the knowing that the universe is loving and kind and abundant and a creative force. And we use that knowledge. If that's all we have, that sure is a lot compared to so many right now. So many that are searching for how to find the connection to their soul, searching for what they're searching for, not having a name for what they seek, not knowing that it will not be found outside, right? That it will not be found in any kind of movements outside. It has to come through the direct connect within, what we call the self-sourcing. And so with this, I'm going to share an experience. We'll segue now into a little bit of story time to share how we can see these initiations in action, so the energies of this eclipse in action, and how if we aren't mindful and heartful and present, we can actually completely live through a projected distortion from emotional issues that have to be resolved, and it's not even the reality. So I'm part of a local psychic metaphysical fair in Seattle called Northwest Psychic Fair, and the founder is the most amazing woman. She's 95 years old. She's still kicking butt, and I just think she is so amazing because she founded this fair 50 years ago. She was the first entrepreneur and very powerful pioneer in service of Source to create this, the first psychic anything in Seattle 50 years ago. So it's an honor to be working with her, to be a vendor for her. I feel so blessed that she's one of the star elders I have in my life. I have 3 very powerful women star elders in my life. So of course I would do anything for her, anything I can do to support her. After the last fair in September, she asked a couple of us, just reached out to us from the fair to ask for some support with marketing, because it's not really her forte, with computers and Facebook ads, all this stuff is kind of not in her wheelhouse. It's not her specialty. So a handful of us, including myself, stepped up to say, oh my gosh, yes, we want to help. We want to help everyone. This is the new earth codes of abundance for all, right? All for one kind of thing, one for all. And we want, to let humanity know also that we're here with this fair offering this service every month, because there's so many amazing, talented people here with profound gifts. So what's been interesting is seeing this eclipse experience in action based upon where people are in their process. We had the opportunity to see how stepping up for the good of all and asking others to do the same with love and excitement and bringing forth this communal element, or the new earth codes of community, to this organization actually has ruffled some feathers and has actually kicked up trauma response, trauma programming in certain individuals. It's been pretty wild to see this, and there's no judgment in it. It's just like, oh, okay, so this is how they're responding. Like, wow, that's so different to the energy that I'm bringing, the intention here. And it's all about this Libra eclipse, people referencing the past when they were betrayed or had some really uncomfortable and not kind scenario, and they're projecting it on this circumstance. And some of the other themes like betrayal, feeling like you're not invited, you're not included, right? You're being overlooked. I mean, these are huge themes for a lot of people. A lot of us have had these experiences, you know, if, even from childhood, not getting picked for the dodgeball team, or, you know, there's so many different ways of looking at this where we have felt overlooked, right? And not worthy enough to be in the group or in the tribe. These are huge themes, huge for all of us. And I can relate to them too. What's hard and very sad is when we can't work them through together in community. And I think that's really the whole point of the human experience, right? Is to come together and to be able to work things out. And we also have to honor the truth that not everyone's ready. You know, we may want this with our nuclear families, right? The people we were born into in this life, and so many different situations where we want to work through it and work it out and prioritize the love. And others aren't ready yet. They have to work through their wounding more. They have to be able to get to that place of love, to be able to get to that open-hearted place, and to be willing to work through it. And there's a great deal of strength that this commands of each of us. So, unfortunately, we've lost some people. Some people just up and left, and actually left us scrambling to try to figure out how to do a lot of these different things they were doing, fulfilling these roles for the organization. So it's been, you know, a lot of scrambling this month, right? And so I'm guided to share this because this is a theme that has happened over and over again in my life where, you know, we want to bring these beautiful high frequency codes of New Earth to an organization to help up level it, because we can see the potential and we feel the worthiness of everyone involved, and we want to bring the up level qualities to it, right? To bring more abundance, to bring just even more of the good for everybody. And what happens is inadvertently it creates some kind of an implosion from within the system. If people are in their egos, right, it can create kind of a chaotic theme. You know, it's that victim consciousness, taking things personal when they're totally not personal whatsoever. And it's like, no, you're not even seeing, you know, when people are in this, we're not trying to do anything to attack someone, put them out of work. It's actually quite the opposite. We're trying to come together and enhance this whole thing as a team. And you'll see this happen everywhere, right? In your family, professional community, organizations, you're going to start to see this. Like, wow, we're not on the same page at all. They're not hearing what I'm saying. They're hearing something else that's coming from inside of them that is an unresolved inner conflict. So projection central, right? So this is the threshing floor. This is the separation of the wheat from the chaff. These kinds of situations that happen in really intense astrological occurrences, like with this eclipse and with all this photonic light. So the wheat from the chaff, it's saying, you know, okay, so are you going to let your ego and your wounding and these traumatic, horrible stories and victim kind of crap ruin your life and close the door to potentials? You know, close the door to unity, harmony, community, friends, and family. Or are you going to rise to the occasion and come together as a community and just make the conscious choice to not listen to the programming running through the brain on loop? You know, we have to take a moment. Oh my gosh, that's not even true. It's not even real. It's an illusion. This is the opportunity to purge this out and say, oh wow, this situation brought this programming up for me, and it was really hard. I was really in it for a while, you know? These emotions were really tough for me to go through, but I decided that I was tired of living in that space, and I rose to the occasion. And I also decided to make the conscious choice to really feel and connect, instead of putting my heart walls back up in a panic, right? In a fight or flight automated response, to have more communication with these people, to understand what's really happening. And now I can feel the genuine love and the desire of these people to improve this for everyone. And so I want to work through this. I want to come together and continue to build together and strengthen this community, right? Where everyone has a piece of this. Everyone has a vital part to play. No one is more important. No one is left out. So there's the opportunity here to use this in all situations. And you're going to see where it can be too much for individuals right now who are still operating more unconsciously in their woundedness or victim consciousness, separation, distortion, whatever you want to call these things. It's all about the pain and suffering. You know, it's a light quotient thing. We also will say it's what we call the frequency differential, where there's just a difference in frequency between people based on their consciousness, based on their path, how much work they've done, and it just is what it is. It's nothing personal, and there's no judgment with this. This is just where certain people are in their process, right? And we have to honor that. So there can be some separation and splitting off, you know, people, and it's isolating. And then you see those who want to come together in spirit, in love, community. And yes, we all have our shit. It's not about not having issues or programming. We all have it. That's why we're here on this planet, right? But it's about going beyond it, consciously choosing, focusing, prioritizing the love and the connection, and building these beautiful situations, building, being part of a mandala, a living, breathing organism, an ecosystem of souls. And this has a ripple effect, right? Versus going small, separating off, going into the victim, and then sadly ruining your opportunity. And nothing is fixed. So I have said over and over now for the last few weeks to the organizer of the fair, I've said, if these individuals finally can come through the other side of their pain and work through what they need to work through and see and feel the truth of what we are trying to do, of course, we are ready, excited. We will welcome them with open arms when they are ready. And that's what I hold for them. I hold the door open for them to be able to see clearly and come back in together. A lot of us will have these experiences. They're very real when we're in the program and we go through it and say, oh my gosh, wow, I was really going through that. I made this whole thing up in my head. And that's actually not what's even happening here. Oh, that was silly. And it's not in a condescending way, because our programming is very real until we break it, okay? It's very important to understand this and to hold this compassion for everybody. Some people, emotions are new to them. They may not even be able to define what they're feeling. They're just in their feels, right? And so, of course, it's very important just to remember that we're not actively trying to ruffle feathers or trigger people, but this is what the light does. Photonic light comes in, it lights things up, and it forces us to look at things that we don't necessarily want to see or even feel psychologically prepared to see. And shining the light on where something can be improved upon is not personal. It's actually a beautiful part of evolution. And so it's the opportunity for us to start to see that these occurrences are not a personal attack. And an ego can definitely take it that way. If people aren't feeling good about themselves, or if they're kind of running thought forms like, I'm not doing a good enough job. And so anyway, this is just a pretty amazing opportunity, and it was shocking, but it makes sense. People are going through what they're going through, so it's just pretty amazing. And this is applicable to any scenario right now, and it can be hard when individuals don't want to see right now, but that's their choice, and we honor free will, right? The point is not to allow worrying about how other people are going to react to deter what you are guided to do on a soul level for your mission, for your voice. For however you see that a system can be improved and up level, it's time. It's time for all of us to use our voice. And this is a powerful transmission. Being on Friday the 13th, I was just sitting there today, just like, oh my God, I'm reflecting on Friday the 13th and the Knights Templar, the Cathars, the Essenes, and what went down on this date, right? And of course, there's a lot of distortions in the story. And it was about those carrying the knowledge of unity consciousness, right? The crystalline codes, the Christed love light wisdom being taken out by other individuals who didn't want this knowledge and empowerment to be realized by the masses. And if there's ever a reminder of how important it is to remain steadfast in the mission, it would be that message from that time in history that is here today. Those people who are carrying the codices of the Christed or crystalline knowledge, the avatar consciousness, unity, source, love, consciousness. They knew what was coming and they didn't care. They knew it was going to ruffle feathers, and they didn't care because they knew what their intention was. Their hearts were pure and they came here to share this information. And they didn't care because they knew that no matter what, the message would carry on, and that no matter what happened to them, the message would carry on. And those seeds would continue to germinate here throughout time into the Akash and into various ways throughout the records and even the various spiritual and religious texts. These are the codes that have survived, right? And so as I reflect on this, many in my own ancestry lineages that are part of this, connected to Joan of Arc, all of these different lineages that were going through France that were annihilated. And what this does is it actually fuels me. It's my steadfast source of courage, a courageous fuel to not give up, to not stop, and to not be afraid, and to not be censored, and to not be afraid of being censored, right? And so I just want to share this courage code with everybody at this time. And it can be tricky with these platforms because all of these mainstream platforms are trying to censor, but there are many ways to avoid this. And also it's so important to keep using our voice with one another. Don't let groups of individuals or organizations in the groupthink censor you. Don't let yourself be censored and your spirit be censored and your heart and the wisdom that's coming from on high through you. Speak your truth with honor, grace, and love no matter what, and let the pieces fall where they may. It's all about the love, right? It's not the fight. It's not the us versus them. All of the stuff we're seeing right now, everyone seems to have forgotten that the earth is round and has no sides, right? and it's all about the love and unity consciousness. So I'm just wishing you all a really powerful and beautiful experience with this. This is intense. A lot is being pulled and ripped and, shaken off of us, all these pieces of fear or hesitation. And so I look forward to hearing about your experience, and we'll have more, of course, as we go through this month here. And if you're still here with me, thank you. I just want to share some events and news for this month, some different opportunities if you want to participate. So we do have the Northwest Psychic Fair tomorrow, Saturday the 14th from 10 to 5. If you're in the Seattle metropolitan area, come visit us. The details are in the description box below, and it's every second Saturday. Amazing metaphysical and psychic fair, the first of its kind in Seattle, and it's free to attend. We have the most incredibly gifted people, medical intuitives, palmistry from this amazing, innovative elder who's this brilliant, he's a lawyer, his name is Ed, and he has discovered all new ways to read your entire hand. It's just incredible. He reads the top of your hand, the palm of your hand. It's just mind-blowing. We have Reiki, amazing galactic healing technologies, CBD products, jewelry, gem show, all the goodies. We have all kinds of readers, and they're all really authentic, lovely people. And then I myself offer oracle readings, crystalline sound healing with solfeggio tones with crystal instruments, and Andara ray light activations with the frequencies of light. So that is tomorrow the 14th and every second Saturday if you're ever in the Seattle area. On the 20th of October at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to have a live webinar broadcast. It's only $33 on the New Earth One platform, and we're going to be talking all about Gaia and the Emerald Ray and these amazing beings from nature that have brought forth these incredible codes and showing us the interconnectivity and the star-seededness of all of the plant life forms here. It's just so mind-blowing. Nature, trees, moss, seeing grids in those spider webs, it's just incredible, and it's just here to support us in opening our hearts and feeling even more connected to ourselves, to one another, and the natural world at this time. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of incredible codes of the Emerald Ray, of Gaia Sophia, where I am in the Pacific Northwest that I've been working with these last few years. And there's also a solar component. We're going to be talking about the beautiful rainbow prism flames of divinity coming off of Solaris. And this is a very unique webinar for me, a first offering where I'm actually going to be sharing multimedia content, and I'm actually going to be sharing through presentation videos, photos that I have taken myself that have been gifted to me from the planet and the sun, being called to go out on the grids on the planet and capture the evidence of the crystalline realms and the new earth dimensional frequencies that are here. They are here right now. You just have to know to look for them, to ask to be shown. And my goal with this is to show you how wonderful, how easy it is to connect with the natural world and to connect with the higher dimensions, because they are all around. We just have to unplug from all of the old matrix stuff and basically reroute our consciousness, plug in, to the crystalline grids, right? To the mycelium. We just have to open our hearts to them and get into this kind of soft, humble, excited curiosity of a child, very innocent, pure space within, and go out there and explore. And so that's going to be really fun. I'm really excited to share this footage. A lot of the footage is some that I've actually shared on this channel too, for different activations to show you. We have captures of the sun being heart-shaped, the sun being diamond-shaped, amazing grids that are created by spiders that show you the rainbow crystalline grid formations, just really such amazing stuff. And so there is evidence of the generational frequency shifts and the increases as more and more star beings incarnate on the planet throughout time, showing that it's all written into the earth and the root systems. I'm very excited to share this with you. The last piece I want to share, last event coming up, very exciting, a beautiful summit that I am so grateful to have been invited to be a contributing speaker for. And this is Cosmic Truth, Embodying Your Multidimensional Self, created by Annalisa Ashara, a beautiful cosmic sister in Paris. This amazing summit has 30 speakers. It's free to attend. It's going to be airing online October the 23rd to the 27th. So I invite you to check that out if you're just wanting more information and to connect with more individuals who are sharing this wisdom consciousness of New Earth and our multidimensional being. If you're really tired of, just the mainstream, like kind of one-dimensional way of looking at ourselves and our lives, and I really invite you to check this out. And it's just so much fun because these are some awesome people that are sharing their awakening experiences, their wisdom, their technology, their connections and downloads with Star Family. It's just a fabulous opportunity to connect and to not only feel, but to know that there are so many of us out there. We are out there. We are everywhere. And a lot of times I'll say we're the silent and censored majority, right? Because there's some squeaky wheels online right now, but we are the majority. And it's helpful and supportive to know that, because sometimes we can feel very alone with where we live, right? So I look forward to seeing you at that webinar. and just in general, all of these events. And I just thank you for being here with me, wishing you a wonderful experience with this eclipse. All of the information for all of these amazing events will be in the description box below. So thank you so much for joining me today, sending you all the love and all the courage. Remember, self-care and self-love. Continue to be leaders of love, ambassadors of unity consciousness in action, and I'll see you soon.